I'm happy that you decided to join me today. I am Laurie Bates, and I represent the Utah State University Create Better Health SNAP Ed program. Our focus is to help people to eat better and to help them have a healthy lifestyle and exercising. Create Better Health classes and lessons are based on USDA nutrition and physical activity. We are also affiliated with the USU Extension. Let's get started. Well, many people have a bit of sweet tooth, and eating healthy does not have to mean never eating sweets again. Creating a fruity dessert is a great way to satisfy your sweet tooth while also increasing your fruit intake. What are some better ways that you can choose some different types of fruits? What do you think? Be thinking, what could they be? Well, we've got fresh, like we have here today, with our strawberries and our apples. And then we have canned, and then there is, of course, frozen or dried even. If using canned, look for fruit packed in 100% fruit juice, like we have here. It says in pineapple juice. So that's a good way to get that. And then if you've got some in your pantry that says light syrup or extra heavy syrup, you can drain that and rinse it, and the fruit will be just fine, and you won't have all that added sugar, and you'll have less. Well, then you're just left with that naturally rich vitamins and minerals and fiber that's in the fruit instead of lots of sugar. Fruits are naturally sweet, so you don't have to add a lot of extra sugar. Our recipe today is called the Easy Magical Fruit Salad. And I have done this salad for many, many years. And I've done it with the youth, I've done it with adults, and everyone has always come away saying, oh wow, that was so good. So I don't think I've ever had one person say they didn't like it. So that tells me that this is a good one for your family maybe too. All right, so what we're going to do is first we're going to prep our fruit. If you're using fresh fruit, make sure you're safe and use a clean chopping board that has not been used with meat or anything that will cross-contaminate it. And then get that sliced up. I have a cup of strawberries already going. I have a few for garnishing. You can do that too if you want. I wanted to show you too, I rinsed my berries before. When you bring your strawberries home from the store, don't rinse them at that time unless you're going to use them right away, because it's the water that causes the mold and the bacteria on berries. So it's important, not just for strawberries, but any berry that you bring home, that you wait to rinse them until you're ready to use them. Well, like me, what if you don't use all of them and now they're wet? Well, what I did was I put a paper towel inside the container to take up some of that moisture that's in here. Or sometimes, like blueberries will have like a pad, a sponge pad. Leave that in there and it will absorb that water that you put on the berries, okay? And then I turn it upside down because I put the paper towel on top, and then I flip it, and then those berries can start to drain on the paper towel, okay? All right, and then I've got some apple started. So let's get that nice and diced up. Now, apple is really good with the peeling. If you like the peeling, which I do, it adds a added fiber to it. which is important for our digestive system, and it helps to clean our stomachs and our intestines out. And it also helps with our regulation of our stools. So it's got a lot of jobs. Okay, so get those about, if you've got small children, make sure your chunked fruit is cut pretty small, so that they don't choke on it, or even really elderly people in your home. They have a hard time sometimes chewing as well. Not always, but sometimes. So be aware of who you're serving this to and how much you will dice these up. Okay. All right. So I've got all my apples ready, and then I can eat some. You can use whatever you have in your fridge. You can use anything you have in your pantry. It's just very easy to do. All right. So take a bowl that you can fit 3 cups of fruit, or if you're going to double it, get a bigger bowl, because 6 cups of fruit, 5 to 6 cups is a lot more than this 3 cups. Okay, hurry and chew this apple. Sorry, guys. All right, I'm going to use the sugar-free banana cream. That's what that looks like. And we're just going to put that in our bowl. And you're probably thinking, oh yeah, if you've been to any of my classes, maybe you've seen us make this. And you remember how fun and easy this is. Okay, then you get 3/4 cup of milk. Now, the milk can be anything you have. It could be instant non-fat milk if you've got that, or even the powdered kind. You just have to work it a little bit more. That would work as well. And then you can use any type of pudding, like lemon or coconut or vanilla or banana, like we used today. You can use 1% or 2% milk, or like I said, the dried milk. And then we're going to take a whisk and just kind of whisk that around a little bit and get that to be smooth. And it takes about a minute to get that nice and smooth to where we like it, so that it will coat the fruit and it will be nice and not lumpy. We don't want it lumpy, right? If you think this is just a little bit too thick, which I do, go ahead and add a little bit more milk to thin it down. Okay, so I have added a little bit more milk to thin this down some, because I thought it was too thick. Okay. All right. That looks really good. Boy, that thickens up really fast, doesn't it? Okay, then we're just going to add our fruit. So I have a cup of strawberries. And then I'm going to do some pineapple tidbits. And since this is 100% juice in this can, I'm just going to use, a 1/2 cup of pineapple. I will get a cup and drain that juice. And I love pineapple juice. Do you guys? And then I will drink that pineapple juice. So don't waste it. It's way yummy. Okay. So then we're going to get our apples put in. And then you can add bananas. But the thing with bananas is it has a tendency to, of course, brown. It doesn't last as long. Okay, so if you're going to use bananas, maybe what you could do is, wait until you're ready to serve it to put it in. All right? And then you can also add peaches or pears or fruit cocktail. That would be a good idea. I think maybe I'll do that. And then drain the fruit cocktail. This is just like some syrup, so I'm going to get rid of that. So I drained the fruit cocktail, and I'm just going to put a cup-ish, about in there. And I love fruit cocktail. I was brought up with fruit cocktail. Were you guys? Look how beautiful that is. So add the milk as you want it so that it's not too thick. And then just put this in the refrigerator, and you can just serve it in the bowl if you want. Or you could put it in a cute little dish like this. In a little dish like this if you want to serve it. And I would do about 1/3 of a cup. And then you could put a cute little berry on there, just like that. Isn't that pretty? Here, let's get closer. Really, really a very beautiful dish to serve your family or your guest. And then just put a saran wrap on top of this and put it in the fridge. And then if you want to add bananas, don't forget to add those just before you serve so that it doesn't make your salad mushy over time. You could also soak your banana in a little bit of lemon or some of this pineapple juice that we have from the other can. That would work too. I'm going to just put a couple of strawberries on this to make it nice and pretty. And you can do the same. And then before serving it, you could slice some bananas on top of here. Our lesson, and that is on sugar and sodium. And oh, by the way, this needs to be refrigerated for at least 2 hours, and then you can serve it. So make it at noon or at breakfast, depending on what meal you're making it for. And it makes about 6.5 to 7 cups. So it makes quite a bit. All right, and it's best to eat it as soon as you can so that it doesn't sit there and get all soggy. All right, so limited calories from added sugar and reduced sodium intake. Oh my goodness, do we love sugar and we love salt. But limiting foods that are high in added sugar and or sodium is easier if you're choosing mostly whole foods like we did today. Excessive added sugar intake is associated with increased risk of obesity, metabolic syndrome, and that is where a cluster of conditions that occur together, and they increase your risk of things like heart disease, stroke, and diabetes type 2. Added sugars are those that have been added to a food during preparation or processing, like in these cans, okay? It does not include sugar that is natural, like in the strawberries or the apples, any of those. Some sources of added sugar you have seen in products are agave nectar, brown sugar, corn syrup, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, honey, malted sugar, maple syrup, molasses, powdered sugar, raw sugar, sugar cane. The top sources of added sugar in American diets, I bet you can guess what one of them is soda pop. Okay, so sweetened beverages. And that means Red Bull and Monsters and all of our sodas. And it does not include the diet. Desserts, cakes, cookies, pies, etc. Fruit drinks that are not 100% juice, like our juice right here. Okay. Candy. Desserts that are based with sugar and dairy, like ice cream or sherbets. Some surprising sources of added sugar might be, have you ever thought about your ketchup? Or condiments that you might use, like barbecue sauce? Or what about your salad dressing? Especially the fat-free version. Remember, if you were watching one of my videos, we talked about how when they take the fat out, they have to stabilize it, so they add more sugar. And when they take the sugar out, they have to stabilize it more with fat. So it's kind of like a switch. If you want one, then you get the other. And it's crazy how they do it. Okay, and then also includes breads and tortilla and granolas and yogurts. Talking about yogurts, my daughter and I, maybe it's been a few weeks ago, we were surprised on how much sugar was in yogurt. We were reading labels and going through it, and so take a look at those labels. I think you will be surprised on how much sugar are in these yogurts. 4 grams of sugar equals 1 teaspoon. So here's the 1 teaspoon, and that is 4 grams of sugar when you're looking at your labels. If your yogurt has 12 grams of sugar, you're looking at 3 teaspoons. So if we take a little container like this, and let's put 3 teaspoons of sugar, and that is what that's going to look like. That's a lot of sugar in just those little containers that we get. And it could even have more, maybe 24 or 21 grams of sugar. So be aware of what you're buying. And try different kinds. Sometimes they'll add fruit to it, and it can help with it being a little more sweet. Okay, according to the dietary guidelines, everyone over the age of 2 should consume no more than 10% of their daily calorie intake. So, for example, if your intake is 2,000 calories every day, this would equal about 50 grams of sugar. Okay, and then you divide that by 4. And that will get you 12.5 teaspoons. So that's what it should be for a 2,000 calorie diet. So 12.5 teaspoons. Okay, this is 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and a half. Okay, so that's the amount of sugar we should have every day or less. Okay, so something to kind of think about when we are consuming sugar. For our heart health, the American Heart Association recommends 6 teaspoons of added sugar a day for women and 9 for men. And again, this depends on what you're doing for a living as far as work or what you do around the house. So adjust it according to, you know, what your calorie intake is. Some ways to reduce sugar are, read labels. We've talked about the labels now, and they are doing the labels different. They are adding natural sugar, and they're also adding regular added sugar on the label. So take a look at those and see the new way. For example, this one says total sugar is 15 grams, okay? And then it includes 7 grams of added sugar. So 7 of the 15 that are in this are added sugar. And it's from the syrup that's in this. So if we rinse that off and get that to be gone, it will be much less. Replace some sugars in recipes. So let's decrease your sugar, and then let's add some fruits or vegetables to it instead. For example, like applesauce or bananas are very good, and they're sweet. So get these to where they've got some brown spots on them. So the more brown spots, the sweeter the banana is, and that's all natural. Or sweet potatoes are a good thing too. Replace sugar sweetened beverages with water or milk or unsweetened tea, or maybe some seltzer water. I don't know about you, but I don't like that. But you could add some lime or lemon to that, and it would be much better. I would like it much better. Cook from scratch. Know what you're doing. Have it your way instead of the manufacturer's way. Know what sugars you're putting into the things that you're making. Make your own salad dressing so that you don't have to worry about all that sugar in there. Granola. Make your own granola or your pasta sauce. There's so many things that are actually everything that you can make from scratch is better. So we need to get away from all of this fast food and convenient food. Yes, they're nice once in a while to do, and it's important to have a break and use those, but it's also important to not do those very often. Save the sweet stuff for special occasions, okay? And the same goes for those convenient mixes. It makes that day even more special. And I got to the point where we were having, like dessert, 3, maybe 4 times a week. And I got to thinking that it probably wasn't a very good idea. And the kids wanted, dessert every night after, we did that. And so I got to thinking, well, maybe I should just have it one night a week. And then it would be a special time and make it a treat. So we ended up doing Sundays being the day that we had dessert. All right, well, let's go into sodium. And high sodium intake is associated with increased risk of heart disease and high blood pressure. So if you have high blood pressure already and then you're eating a lot of salt, it makes it worse. Sodium is found in a variety of foods, and that means canned foods, vegetables, meat products like tuna and chicken and salmon, and soups and breads, baked goods, lunch meats, the list goes on and on. Frozen meals, prepared sauces and condiments. It is generally added for flavor. I used to think that it was a preservative for the canned foods, but I was totally wrong when I was young. It does not preserve the food. Salt can be omitted from canning tomatoes or vegetables or meats or chicken, seafood, since the amount added does not contribute to the safety of the food. So when you're canning foods, remember that you don't need to add that. Find the amount of sodium in a product by looking at the nutrition label. Once again, let's take these labels and read the sodium. This one has 5 milligrams of sodium, 4 servings. So there's 20 milligrams of salt in this whole can right here. So if we were to buy fresh pineapple, we wouldn't have that. Okay? So that's what we mean by buying whole foods. Remember to look at the serving size, which I just did. It's at the very top, and sometimes it's kind of small. Unfortunately, they need to make it bigger, just like we did the calories. Look how big the calories are on that. That's pretty big. So I wish they would do that for serving size as well. It is recommended we consume, here we go, less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium every day. So important to get a general guideline as to how much we're eating every day. Look for reduced sodium. It'll say on the label, no salt or reduced. Or look on your label and buy those. If you can't find them, be sure to take your regular stuff and, again, just like we did the fruit, drain them and rinse them. This won't remove all of the sodium, but it will help. And so it's a good thing to start doing that. Or use some spices or herbs to help replace salt. In the comment section below this video, there will be a handout that will help you with some seasoning mixes, along with other handouts and the recipe for today's easy salad, and on how to make your own mix-up. So it's a really good idea. And they've got more than one, so there's lots of different ones that you can choose from. Okay, so let's talk about physical activity just a little bit. To create better health for our daily living, we need to be physically active. It's so important, and just as important as eating a healthy diet. Be thinking, as we talk about this a little bit, of some ways that you can be physically active. And your family too. Take them with you. Do it together. Health and Human Services recommends that all Americans move more and sit less. And right now, that's really kind of hard since we're all home working on the computer, or we're trying to get work done, or trying to take care of our families. So that's a hard thing, and we have to almost plan that to have it happen. But to maximize health benefits of being physically active, we should be moderately active at least 150 minutes a week. That sounds like a lot, huh? But let's break it down. 2 hours and 30 minutes, or let's do 30 minutes a day, or let's do 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, 10 minutes somewhere else, so that we can do short durations of activity, and the benefits count. Okay, it doesn't matter how long you do it, it matters that you do it. Okay, so Health and Human Services, also known as HHS. So if you've ever heard us talk about HHS, it is the Health and Human Services Department. It recommends strength training exercise for each of the main muscle groups 2 times a week. And if you've been watching our videos, you know we talk about resistant training, where we take items from the pantry and we work on resistance of our muscles, and it works really nice. You can use your gallon jugs, fill them up with some water halfway, and then 3/4 way and then all the way to get to where you're getting stronger and stronger every time. So that's important. And then our balance and flexibility. It's important to have a very solid core so that we're not falling and tipping and causing more injury to our body than is needed. Sometimes we can't get away from it, but if we're more solid and stable, the better we will be. And I need to work on that myself. Okay, so create better health for yourself. Make a goal. Take one of the things that we talked about today, or take one thing in each category and make it a goal for you. So in the sugar department, what are you going to be doing? Are you going to say, maybe I'll go to diet soda, or I'm going to drink more water? In the sodium section, are you just going to start to rinse your vegetables when they're in cans? Are you going to use more whole foods like our strawberries and apples? And then on exercising, what can you do for 10 minutes 3 times a day that will give you some exercise? Can you go for a walk, take your kids' hands and point out fun things and play I Spy? I spy a rock, I spy a butterfly, and it makes that walk go fast and they enjoy it a lot more. So think about some things that you need as a family and as an individual and make it happen. Also, let's make things as much as we can with whole foods and making our own desserts so that we know what's inside them and we know how we are doing as far as sugar and sodium go. Well, I hope you've enjoyed yourself today. Thank you for joining me. This is Laurie Bates, from my home to yours. See you next time.